I want to climb to Platinum 4, but I also need to learn more champions to play for my college esports team. Guys, a lot of people are having this problem where they're trying to climb to really high ranks in solo queue with a small champion pool, but they also need to have a big enough champion pool so they don't get banned out or let their college esports team down. So if you're in this problem or this situation where you either need to reduce your champion pool or you need to have kind of two champion pools, one champion pool for solo queue and one champion pool for your college team, please keep watching this because I'm going to break down in a live profile view with the player themselves exactly what you need to do to reach your solo queue goals while also helping and achieving the best and the greatest performance you can on your team. Now, before we get into this profile view, if you're interested in getting a live profile view just like the one you're about to watch, please click the link in the description below. As well as if you're interested in the monthly coaching solution we talk about towards the end of this video, you can also check out the link in the YouTube description below. Let's get into the profile review. And how I usually run these calls, and you can feel free to customize this because it's really all about you getting as much value out of this call as possible. But how I like to run is generally I just walk through while I screen share your op.gg and your mobalytics, and I look at the easiest things that you can fix in order to get to your goal rank, which I think, did you say plat or was it diamond?
Just plat.
Yeah, plat. So I basically look at it super like objectively of going like, if I was you and I was trying to get you to plat 4 in the fastest way possible, playing League of Legends, this is exactly what I'd do. And then we kind of can build a bit of a realistic strategy for you depending how important that goal is for you. Because some people are like, I'm willing to do every single thing to get there in the fastest way possible. But other times people are like, oh, I might get a bit bored of that, or that's not really how I want to play League of Legends, and therefore I'm okay with a bit of a slower journey. So how does that sound? I can just jump into that, and then whenever you have questions or you don't agree with something or I need any more information, you can feel free to jump in. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, cool. So I'm just going to, I've looked at your account briefly, but I'm just going to kind of talk it out loud. So you goal for 78 LP, you've played just under 200 games with a 51% win rate, and the goal is to get to Platinum 4, and is goal 4 the highest you've ever been?
No, actually I got gold 190 LP.
Got it.
I haven't been able to get back to that. I don't know how I did that.
Okay, that was last season, correct?
Yeah, I ended at gold 4, but I did reach the gold 1 at one point.
Okay. Let's have a look if there were any champions that... Okay. So there were some really successful champions you had.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Cool.
So I usually main more Jhin, yeah. So Jin's more of a comfort for me.
Yeah. Sorry, who was the first one? Jhin and...
Jhin and Jinx was last year. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. And this year, it's looking like your biggest success is Jhin right now. And you've got a bit of Caitlyn in here, which is good. Okay. Cool. So the first thing I immediately see is when I look at a gold 4 player who's trying to climb to platinum, so you're trying to go from the top 24% of players to the top 8%, you need to cut down your champion pool because the top 8% of players, they focus on a small champion pool because it's much easier to learn 1 or 2 champions and get a plat level mastery on them than it is to try and learn 5 or 6 80 carries and get a plat level mastery on them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I definitely understand that concept.
Yeah. So you don't have to want to play to that concept, but when we're looking at time, like the fastest time to go from gold 4 to plat 4, it's the smaller champion pool, the better. So generally what I recommend players is 1 to 3 champions max. If you can one trick, that has been statistically proven time and time again that that's the fastest way to climb. But looking at your champion pool, I can feel like you probably will get bored if you one trick, and it doesn't seem like it's the way you want to play. Is that a correct assumption?
No, it's because I do esports at a college level.
Ah, got it.
So yeah, it's harder for me to just play one champion. I want to do that, just 1 or 2 champions.
Yes.
But it's a little more difficult. That's kind of the...
Okay. Yeah. That provides me really, really good context. Okay, cool. So you're having to balance between learning new champs for your college, for your amateur team, while also trying to get to that goal for plat. Okay, cool.
Exactly.
So, there are a few ways to approach this. The first question I'd ask is, I guess, well, actually, no, that's not the best question to ask. The first question I should ask is, do you have like another account that you play on at the moment, like a Smurf?
Yeah.
Could
It's
could you link me that in the chat so I can
yeah, of course.
grab it up?
You want just the username or the link for the page?
op.gg would be easier, but I can just type it in if you don't have it handy.
I was just playing on it actually before you texted me.
Oh, nice. And what rank is it?
It's Silver 1 promos right now.
Oh, this is excellent. Okay, we have our solution. Okay, perfect. Oh, fuck yeah. Look at this account. Very nice. Only fucking 20 games played and it's almost as high rank as your main. Okay,
Yeah, I know,
perfect.
right?
This is good. Okay, so what I would implore you to do is something that's called a 2 ranked account strategy. So we have our 1 account, which is for climbing, and we have our 2nd account, which is for learning. In my Untiltable course, I talk about it as well, but you might not be up to it yet. But basically, we have our gold, whichever account it is, so whether it's Cheeto 429 or this one, I would argue this one has better MMR because you're already in Silver 1 with a 61% win rate. So the league system sees this account as a better MMR than your other one. But we have 1 account and you need to make that choice ideally today or eventually, maybe tomorrow once you've slept on it. Which account is going to be the account that you want to get to Plat 4 and which is the account which is going to be the account where you're practicing and developing your champion pool depth. Because I agree you've got competing priorities here where you're trying to build a really good champion pool for your amateur team, but you're also trying to get Plat 4. And if we want to honestly do those two effectively at the same time, splitting your gameplay up between 2 accounts is going to be the best option for that. Because I am worried that if you keep at having like a 6 to 7 80 carry champion pool, it is going to be very hard for you in the short term to climb from Gold 4 to Plat 4. Whereas what I'd rather you do is you're 1-tricking or 2-tricking on whichever account, let's say it's this one, you're 1-tricking or 2-tricking like your Jin, and I would say maybe even your Caitlyn, or like even your Draven. I mean, this Draven stats look insane. So maybe it's like Jin, and then when you see it as a Draven game, so you're playing like 80-20, something like that. That is how I would approach your main account that you want to get to Plat 4. And then when you want to, or you need to learn new champions, or you need to, get up to scratch on some new comps you're working on with your team, that's what you use your 2nd account for. Because the beauty of your 2 accounts, and that's why I was so excited, is they're such similar MMRs that the learning environment, which is what is so important for you with your esports team, is the learning environment is going to be as competitive on this account as your Smurf. And so what we're going to be allowed to do, and I'm probably over explaining this, is we have that 1 account where we're 1-tricking and that 2nd account where we're learning our champions. And we solve, I guess, that issue of having too big of a champion pool, but you also need to learn champions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it really does make sense, yeah.
Awesome.
Because when I do on a main account and I'm climbing well, but then I have to try a new champion, I try it and then I get stumped with it and I keep trying it and I just keep losing. Yeah, it's definitely makes sense.
Excellent. And it's a shame, right? Because I think League of Legends shouldn't really be played. Like, I mean, some people like it, but I feel like League of Legends should be played where you can have a really big champion pool and still climb. But because everyone or a lot of people are so driven to like get to the highest rank possible, when you're trying to do that, it's just 1-tricking. Like, if you can play Jin into every single matchup, you're just going to climb faster than trying to play 5 champs at once. But
so I have a question.
Yes, this is good. Yeah.
Should I be worried about the meta? Like, as 1-trick, like, Jin doesn't really fall off or, like, in the meta, I guess. He kind of stays the same. He's pretty strong at all time, but, like, anyone else, cause you said, like, 1 or 2 or maybe 3 champions?
Yeah.
Should I be, like, my 3rd or 2nd, should I be switched up every once in a while?
Yeah.
Or, like...
So, yeah, no, great question. So, I look at it like, I look at anything below Diamond 1 as it's always comfort. So like comfort is always number one. Then you look at things like meta and counter. So like meta is just what's strong right now, and counter is what is like a good counter pick. So for you right now, up until I would say D4, this is all you need to worry about is what is your biggest comfort pick, what is your highest win rate champion, and what is that champion you have the most mastery on. So I would never, with someone like you who knows a few champions and you've got some really good statistics here, I would base your champion pool choice off purely your win rate and how much you enjoy that champion. So for example, I would say your best shots at climbing to plat 4 would be your Jin, because you've got a 59% win rate over 22 games. That's a decent pool. Like ideally I'd like to see 30 or 40 games and see your win rate, but because we don't have any champions at that kind of data level, I'm going off what current trends are showing, and it's like Jin immediately stands out to me. Then I see your Caitlyn and your Draven, and then potentially your Lucian as well. Now, the issue with that I see with kind of Lucian, Caitlyn, and Draven is you don't have as many games played on them, and so the sample size, it's hard to, I guess, assume that you're going to be really good on these guys after 40 or 50 games. So,
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I guess the first question would be, so to answer your question, don't worry about the meta until you get to Diamond 4. That's a problem for another day. The only time you as a player need to be thinking about meta is for your team. So like, what is the meta in your tournaments? What is your coach wanting you to play? All that kind of stuff. That's when you worry about meta. But for solo queue, meta won't matter for you until you get to Diamond 4, which is the top 2% of players. And that's when things like one-tricking can become a little bit problematic. But again, you look at every champion in League of Legends. I mean, is there like over 200 or 100? There's a one-trick for all of them in at least Grandmaster level. So you can still, let's say, if you got Jin to Diamond 4, you could potentially one-trick him to Grandmaster, or Jinx, or Lucian, or Caitlyn. It's really just your mastery on them and how good you are. So meta does start to come into influence the higher rank you go, but again, you don't necessarily ever have to follow the meta. So it's really based on what the results you're getting, and that's when you should, I guess, consider that question. But it's a good one, because a lot of people get stuck on it, and I would much prefer you just play the champion you have fun on and the champion you enjoy, because in the long run, that is the highest win rate probability champion you're going to have.
Okay, yeah, because most of the time, like, when I was just starting off and, like, trying to climb, I would just, like, pay attention to the meta and, like, watch the tier list videos and things like that, but it was so hard because they would pretty much just change all the time. And things like that, so it's like, oh, I learned this thing for nothing, now this thing's getting...
Yeah, exactly. And it's almost like getting caught up in, like, the news cycle as well. Like, you'll find when you're always watching the news, you have anxiety and stuff, and it's the same with the meta. It's like, oh, fuck, oh, this has changed, oh, no, I can't play anymore, what am I going to play next patch? And if you just turn off the news, like, sure, the meta's still important, like, to look at and understand and be like, okay, this champion's really strong this patch, or maybe I just ban them. But in terms of your actual champion pool, it shouldn't really change.
Okay.
Excellent. So my next question was going to be, unless you had any others, but I'm sure they'll come up as we keep going. My next question was going to be, I guess, when we're looking at the account, let's say it's this account, when we're looking to get it from Gold 4 to Plat 4, after I've explained, I guess, the 2-rank theory, how big do you want your champion pool to be, or what do you realistically see it as?
I mean, like, for solo queue, I'd like it, like you said, just 2 champions or something like that. Just rotate them all around, but if I'm doing competitively, it'd probably have to be, like, at least 4 or 5. To feel comfortable to, so I don't get banned out, I guess. Yeah.
So for the 2 champ pool account, which champions do you want to go with?
I'm not sure. For sure, one of them has to be Jin. But
yeah, I agree.
I really don't. Yeah, I don't know what the second one would be, because like the Draven one, even though my win rate's pretty high, I don't necessarily feel comfortable playing that champion. It feels like
It's a bit
it
coin
feels like I know
flippy.
what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing, but I'm like super nervous that like I like let's say I have 200 stacks and just
Yeah.
throw it all away or think like that. It's just I don't feel comfortable with that champion compared to what I feel like with Lucian. Jen, I mean.
Okay, awesome. So we've got homework then, which is great. So, how many games do you play a day, would you say?
Uh, 6 a day maybe.
Okay,
Maybe less.
awesome.
Just depends.
Yeah. Okay. You sound like Speaker. Fuck me. That's who was on what team's he on now? He used to be on Team Liquid. The jungler.
A speaker.
Yeah, Speaker. Yeah. So you remind your voice reminds me of him. Fuck.
Wait, really?
Yeah, just a little bit.
I can't remember what team he is now. Is he on FlyQuest?
Yeah, he's on FlyQuest. They're fucking stomping. Yeah. Okay, cool. We got some homework. So what we need to do now is you've got your one champ. Now we need to find your second champion. And so the homework I would really recommend you do is ideally on the account that you don't want to get to Plat 4 is you develop like your B team list where you're like, I don't know what my second champ is going to be, but I think it could be Kai'Sa, Lucian, Caitlyn and Draven, or let's ideally keep it to like 2 or 3 potential candidates. And what I want you to do is play at least 20 to 40 games on them over the next couple of weeks and find out whichever one lands with the highest win rate for you. And match the highest win rate with also what felt the best for you. Because like you said with Draven, if you, let's say, have the highest win rate on the Draven after 40 games, but it makes you feel really uncomfortable, that's probably not a good long-term pick because there's some underlying issue there that could cause a lot of problems. Whereas if your Kai'Sa, for example, you play 40 games on her and you end up with a 56% win rate, which is, maybe 6% lower than the Draven, but you feel a lot more comfortable, I would rather you pick up the Kai'Sa as that second champion.
Okay. And also, should my champion depend on my playstyle? Because I feel like I'm more of a passive AD carry.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been super aggressive, like for example, the Draven. I can do damage. I'll step up, but like I won't do it all the time. Like I won't consistently flash in there and all that stuff. Like take those aggressive trades. So should like my second champion depend on that as well, or should it just like?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, no, so I think it should depend on 2 factors. It's your win rate and then your comfort/enjoyment on it, which links to your playstyle. So if you prefer to play chill champions that scale, then let's have that second champion like that. But let's make sure that you can actually win on them. Like, for example, if you are still really keen on Jinx, I'm just not talking about Jinx because it's your really one of your only negative win rate champions on this account at the moment. But if you're like, I do actually think I'm a good Jinx and I feel really comfortable when I play her, if you feel like you want Jinx to be that second champion, prove it to yourself. Let's get 40 games on her and see where your win rate lies. And then she could potentially be that second champion because she sounds like it suits your playstyle quite nicely.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like when I try to play the Lucian or the Draven, it's like it don't ever feel comfortable like this per se. Like, it's just I feel like I'm forcing something that's just not in me. Like I don't know. I also really like Tristana though, so I'm gonna try more Tristana because I did play a lot of Tristana at one point.
Yeah.
Right now I obviously only have like very few games, but
you've got some big big doozies,
Yeah, so I kind of want to experiment with that champion. It's kind of fun. I guess I can play a little bit more back with the W and all that. So I'll probably try that one second, but if not, probably Caitlyn maybe.
Okay.
I like it.
Awesome. Yeah, and do that homework. So pick let's say Tristana and Caitlyn, even if it's just 2, and then your next step is maybe it's on this account. So whichever account you don't care about its rank as much, play your testing games, like your homework games on that account.
Yeah.
And just see where your win rate gets after 40 games on them. I mean, look at this Tristana. Like I would say this account, because I assume you probably have more skins on this account, and this is kind of the shows. This is your account that you want to get to Plat 4 because it's your main account. Let's use this account. I'm making the decision for you. You can change your mind, but let's use this account as like the homework/test account, and let's get those 40 games on the champions you want to try out. What are those champions going to be, just so we can keep you accountable?
Uh, let's see. I want to try. So Jin, obviously. I want to try Tristana. Caitlyn, maybe.
Yep.
Um, Kaisa. I really like Kaisa.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. She's
And I
strong.
just, yeah.
I
It
think
just
she's really
feels,
good.
yeah. It's just some Kaisas use their ultis to go in, and I just use my ulti to step back a little bit. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really know what it champions. I'd probably have to think about that because I kind of just go around, just whatever I feel. I don't really. Besides the Jin, because I just started doing it. I just started picking up 2 champions.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pick up on those 2 champions. I mean, I used to just randomize it, but I'm not quite sure what I'd pick for
Yeah.
homework, I guess. But
And
I'll
that's
think
okay.
about that for sure.
Yeah, let's go with Tristana, Kate, Kaiser, and just sleep on it. The one thing you've really got to, I guess, put yourself accountable for is it's really just how quickly you want to get to plat. So like, if you're really wanting to get plat by the end of this season, I would highly suggest that your next 60 games are on, Tristana, Caitlyn, and Kaiser. Like, just make the executive decision and go, these are the 3 champs I'm going to test to add to my Jin champion pool, my 2 champion pool. And I'm just going to go for it now because there's, I think, like 140 days left in the season, maybe less, because it's split up. So you are going to have to get a move on eventually, and I'd rather you just get started as soon as possible with that homework so you can find that second champion. But also, in the meantime, you can just be spamming Jin on this account, and then when you're like, okay, now I want to learn that other champion, I want to do a bit of my homework, you go, okay, cool, I'm going to switch to my Smurf and play some Tristana games, or play some Jin games, or play some Kai'Sa games. Cool. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds great.
Awesome. And to be honest, like, the crazy thing about gold to plat is it's the biggest issue is strategy and sticking to it. So the fact that we've already got this really good strategy outlined here is a really, really good sign, and it's going to be about like 70% of the journey from gold to plat. If you can just keep this strategy consistent, where we're only playing our high win rate champions on our main account that we want to climb to plat 4, you're eventually going to get there. It's all just a matter of time and grinding out the games. So that's why strategy and sticking to it is so important, and that's why I've spent the first 20 minutes of this call just figuring out what that strategy is going to be for you, because it's the most effective way I know to get gold 4 players to plat 4 to date. Awesome. And then if you're ever like feeling a bit inconsistent or like a bit worried about a champion, the general consensus is as long as a champion has a 55% win rate or higher over at least 30 games with you, or 20 games we can use for you as an example, that champion is viable for you to climb with. But we don't want to get a champion pool of like 4 champions. So if you have like 4 champions with above a 55% win rate, you're going to have to ideally cull that down and just focus on 2. So we increase our chances of getting to plat.
Alrighty.
Awesome. So, do you have any other questions before we move on?
I do not think so, no.
Okay, cool. So the next things I usually look at with a profile review, and to be honest, you've actually got a very clean profile. Like, your KDAs are really good. Like, these are all really good general health sign, like good health. Your most recent 20 games is 55%, which is higher than your overall, which makes me think that you're becoming a better player, but you're also probably implementing a bit more of a stricter strategy on yourself. And so you're seeing these win rate trends. I would like to see a last 40. That's really good. So it seems like you may have fucked around a bit in the early part of the season. Yeah, okay, cool. So what I can see now is you're taking it a bit more seriously, and your win rate has improved by like 3% in your last 40 games, which might not sound like much, but honestly, like, the difference between gold 4 and plat 4 over a season is generally a 3 to 7% win rate increase over the entire season. So we don't need to do anything crazy here. We just need to be playing good, consistent League of Legends that follows a strategy. So KDA is really good. Your upward trend win rate is really good. Your deaths are quite low. Anything I usually see below 4.5 is really healthy. The fact that you're in 50% of your team's kills as an AD carry is actually really impressive as well. Obviously, you're going to have games where you're like very below KP because as an AD carry, sometimes you just don't get to play the game or you just win the game, which makes sense. So the fact that you're averaging that over 60 games, I'm really, really happy with. A lot of issues I see with Gold 4 AD carries. I'm just comparing you so you can get a bit of a ballpark. I usually see a lot of Gold 80 carries struggling, and they generally have like a 40 to 45% kill participation. So the fact that you're in 50% of your kills means you have a lot more influence over the game, which is what we always want as a solo queue player. So that's really good. You've got some nice win rate trends here as well in your last 60. And then I want to jump to your mobalytics because this gives me generally a better picture, not only of like LP gains, but this is the next big one I look at is your goal difference at 15. So generally, again, gold players, gold AD carries generally struggle with laning phase, and it's one of the big in-game problems they have. Now for you, you're averaging 230 gold up, which is really good considering that you have a champion ocean. So the fact that you're doing really well in laning phase is a really good sign that you're actually right now probably playing below your natural skill level, which is a great sign because it means your ability to climb beyond gold 4 and you, probably the way you got to gold 1 wasn't like fluky or you don't know how you did it. It was probably just because you were doing a consistent strategy and allowing yourself to play League of Legends the way you want to play. It's also a combination of getting some lucky teams, going on some win streaks, but at the end of the day, it is up to you whether you win or lose that game. You're not going to have control over every win or loss, but we need to look at ourselves as an agent rather than a victim in League of Legends, which I know you don't have a problem with. I'm just talking to you, which is great as well. But yeah, just going through, I'm just going to go through your champions. This is really good. And again, just another sign that when I usually start to worry about AD carries is when they drop below a 55% win rate and their gold difference is negative. So the fact that you're almost 2 kills up in laning phase consistently as Jhin, who, yes, he has a strong laning phase, but he's arguably not the most dominant laner in the bot lane at the moment. So the fact that you're able to come out this far ahead is really good. Your gold share is decent. Damage share is good. You're dealing 30 damage every minute more than your opponent AD carry, which is great in order to reflect yourself against the average gold for AD carry. And I'm just seeing this. It looks like that's almost consistent across the board, except for your Jinx, which makes sense. If you, as an individual, have a bad laning phase, you're probably going to struggle in the rest of the game. Yeah, fuck, your Kai'Sa has a really good goal difference. Okay, your Lucian's okay, and your Caitlyn, I'm assuming, is really good. So this is great to see. It means that you've got the hardest part out of the way, which is laning phase. And I would say honestly, the only in-game thing you would need to focus on is just your team fighting and your positioning. And to be honest, we can't go through that in this profile review because obviously we're not doing in-game reviews. But I assume you're going to be working on that all the time with your team, as well as if you ever do want coach like game reviews, we can work on that. But the great thing is, it looks like once you've got this really small champion pool down packed, your biggest issues are going to be sticking to the strategy and like remaining disciplined and just, time to get to plat 4 because it's going to be a grind. Once we've got the strategy down packed, we just need to execute on it and we just need to grind it out. So looking at your profile, that is really all I have to say. Like, it's looking really, really good. You're on the right track. Your biggest issue is cutting back that champ pool.
Okay. This is very insightful, honestly. I always focus on the things I do bad, and it kind of puts me down in a way when I just point these things out, like, oh, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, and it makes me lose confidence at times, so it's helpful to see what I'm doing good.
Yeah.
In a way, so, yeah.
Yeah, and bad is relative, right? Like, because I have looked at hundreds of gold 80 carry profiles. I've looked at dozens of plat and above 80 carry profiles. And so I see a lot of trends, and just your general health here just looks really, really promising. And I generally say, so whatever champions you pick, you'll probably drop about 5% in win rate by the time you get to plat 4. So I would expect your Jhin win rate once you get to plat 4 to be at about 55%, as an example. But the fact that you're 10% higher than the so you look at Gold 4, the average win rate is generally 50%. If you look at your best played champion, Jin, at a 61% win rate, it means you're winning basically 10 to 11% more than the average Gold 4 player, which means two things. One, you're going to climb out of Gold 4 eventually if you keep playing Jin. But two, it means you're better than the average Gold 4 player, which should be really good for your confidence. And a lot of people get imposter syndrome, particularly when they climb. Like at the start of this call, you're like, I got to Gold 1, but I don't know how. It's probably just imposter syndrome. I would say, looking at your stats, we could chuck you in Plat 4 games, and you've probably played Plat 4, a lot of Plat 4 players in your tournaments, if not higher, and you've competed with them, you've maybe beaten them. Sometimes you'll get dumpstered, but I could argue if we gave you like a Plat 3 account tomorrow and let you play 50 games on it, you could keep it at Plat 3 or maybe climb it a bit higher. Like, I don't think it would demote after those 50 games into Gold 1. So the tricky thing for you now is to not play at a Plat level, but it's to prove to the MMR system that you're a Plat 4 player and to get there. Because that journey is arguably harder than the destination, if that makes sense. Because, for sure you've played against way better people than Gold 4 and beaten them.
Yeah, I just fucked my MMR, dude. I was fucking around too much. I mean, I have jungle games in this account.
I know. I went to your past 60 and I'm like, uh-oh, what's going on down here? Hello.
I have jungle games and, like, I was just fucking around. Like, when I was tilted with ADC, because, like, I think I went through a time where I was trying to figure out new champions and doing other shit. And I was so tired of it. I'm like, fuck it, dude. I'm just playing support. Or fuck it, dude. I'm going top lane. And it screwed me over so bad. But, like, this is really insightful. I really appreciate it. And so my other question is, how, like, I guess, scalable is this? Like, once I get, like, if I get to this goal by before or by the end of the season, like, and I get to Plat, can I keep that strategy up? And then, like, let's say if I do get Diamond, then I have to worry about that meta? Did I get that right?
Yeah, great question.
Okay.
So, first thing I would say is don't worry about tomorrow, focus on today. But what I would say is once you get to Plat 4, we review the strategy. So that is when you would just DM me and be like, yo, or talk to your coach, like, whoever your most trusted person is at that point. Talk to them and be like, this is my current strategy. Do you think it can get me to Diamond 4? And what you would do is you'd look at your profile again, just like this, and you'd look at your statistics, you'd look at your in-game play, you'd look at your laning phase statistics, and you'd go, yes, this strategy is still viable for you to get to the next step, or no, it's not. We need to change it.
Okay. So I could always just get, like text you about it, and so we can get the profile review, right? Later on. Alrighty.
Yeah. Awesome. That's a great question. And to be honest, there's never going to be like, you're not going to one day wake up in D3 or D2 or D1 and be like, this strategy doesn't work. It's not going to be a flick of the switch. It's going to be very gradual, and it happens differently for every player just based on your own natural skill ceiling, as well as like your artificial skill ceiling, how much effort you're putting into improving, how strict you are to your strategy, how fast you're improving relative to players in your rank, etc., etc. So there's no hard and fast answer, and that's why I rather like you look at milestones and you just review at every milestone. And it's even the same with your champion pool, right? So let's say midway through your journey from Gold 4 to Plat 4, or let's say in 3 months' time, your Jin win rate starts dropping below 55%. That is when I would honestly like either book a time with myself or your coach and go, hey, like Jin used to be my most successful champion. It's now dropped below a 55% win rate. Remember, the 55% win rate is generally the golden rule. It's dropped below that. Should I change up my strategy or should I stick to it? And try and not make that decision on your own, because just from what you've been saying to me, as well as I'm a solo queue player myself, your subjective experience is going to be very biased towards you making good decisions. And because you will have lived the downfall of your Jin, in those recent games, you're going to be like, fuck me, Jin sucks now, I can't play him, I'm never going to climb with him. Get the objective opinion of a coach who's seen a lot of players like you get in that problem before. Let them make the decision for you, and then weigh up how you're feeling, weigh up what they've said, and at the end of the day, you have to make the rational decision of whether you're going to keep it or change it. But make sure you always get a second opinion before changing this strategy. Because I know this strategy's work because I've coached dozens of Gold 4 players into Plat with this exact strategy. So it generally works for everyone. It sometimes just needs a bit of a tweaking midway through if things aren't working.
Okay. So just don't hit the panic button, I guess.
Yeah. Or if you do, just don't start playing jungle, or don't just all of a sudden start playing Jinx again. Yeah. Please, just talk to someone first. Okay, or if you're like, nah, fuck it, I'm not talking to anyone or whatever, just go onto your second account and play until you like scratch the itch or you gain back your confidence. Because Plat 4's not going anywhere. You can take as long as you want to get there. We just want to make sure that we're never ruining our MMR. And we never want to waste games on our main account. So like, never ever go to jungle. Never ever feel like you need to play top. Just never do any of that. If you want to do that kind of shit, do it on your second account where the rank doesn't matter. Get your frustration, get your doubts out, get your anxiety or whatever. Or maybe you're just curious about, I want to learn a bit more about top lane. That's fine. Just do it on your second account. Don't ruin the MMR on your main account.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, So I was watching the Untiltable, and it was like talking about controlling your emotions and all that. Mm-hmm. And it's really, yeah, it's something that I didn't really necessarily think about.
Yeah.
Like how if I tilt one game, I might not feel it in between the first game and second game. But like if something were to go wrong in the second game, all of a sudden it's just I play like absolute shit for the whole game.
Yeah.
And I think it was last night. I think I tilted after one game, and I was like, I'm just not gonna play. And I'm trying to keep more control over this.
Yeah.
Because I think tilting's super easy to do.
Yeah.
So like, just try not to freak out and go back to jungle.
Yeah. Let me give you the best tilt rule there is. Okay, it's called blocks of 3. This is not, I didn't make this up. You've probably heard it before. But treat solo queue like a best of 3. So, right, you have 3 games. If you lose your first 2, you don't play your third one. Because chances are, like statistically proven, if you lose 2 games in a row, you have a much higher chance of losing your third game in a row. 1, because of tilt. 2, because you might just not be playing well that day. And 3, maybe something outside of League is affecting your performance. And you're just like kind of tilt queuing without even knowing it. Or you're depressed queuing. Or maybe you're super tired, but you're still playing League for some reason. So maximum play in blocks of 3 and always take a break where you get away from the computer for at least 10 to 15 minutes. So if you've got a whole day and you can play 9 games, break it up into blocks of 3 and split those games up with like getting some food, going to the gym, walking your dog, like doing anything, touching grass, doing anything but like playing or queuing up for League again. And that's a really objective way to stop tilt affecting your win rate. So you're still going to get tilted, and we can only do so much about that in-game. But if we can limit the games we play tilted over an entire season, we can increase our win rate by sometimes 3 to 5%. Not by actually improving as a player, but by just having a strict strategy of when you play tilted or when you're losing, you stop playing for the day or for that period of time. So what would you do, let's say, if you lose 2 games in a row, but you still want to really play League of Legends? You just go to your second account. So if you're like, fuck, I lost my first 2 games on my main, but I've got like the rest of the day, like, fuck that. I'm like, I don't want to do anything else. I just want to play League. That's fine. Play League, but don't do it on your main account, because chances are there's something wrong in your gameplay or in your mentality. Yes, sometimes you're just going to get 2 unlucky games in a row, but even getting those unlucky games in a row is going to affect your mindset. So ideally, just that 2-game rule is so good. And the 3-game rule in terms of like, let's say you win 3 in a row, still take the break, because the human mind is not designed to concentrate for like long periods of time. The fact that we can even play 3 games of League in a row and play at a decent level is, even rare. So Make sure you're taking that break just to give your cognitive brain a rest. One, because it's always trying to conserve energy. So you'll find if you play more than 3 games in a row, your brain will start autopiloting. And it's the biggest plague of solo queue in League of Legends is autopiloting, where you're just going through the motions. It's like when you drive like to uni or to college or to school. You've done it 100 times and you can't even remember what happened during the trip. It's the exact same as autopiloting League, and it makes us become a very passive player, and we never want to be a passive player. So that's why blocks of 3 then take the break is so important, because your brain is always looking for shortcuts to conserve energy. It's not thinking, how can I get as many high quality games of League in? It's actually going, how can I reduce my energy consumption? And that's by identifying fake patterns or real patterns and just autopiloting, making as many unconscious decisions or subconscious decisions for you instead of active decisions, which is where we play our best League of Legends.
All right, that makes a lot of sense. Actually, I've never actually heard of the block of 3.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's
that's something.
Yeah, a few coaches talk about, but it's a good one.
Yeah, I just like came up to like heard about the concept of not needing to play so many games, because it's like I just think about like consistently grinding or just playing as many games as I can. But I can't remember who I was watching. It was like, but it was talking about how like you don't really need to play that many games, because as long as if you play a few games and you fully focus, and if you don't tilt and just review those games. And I was about to ask you, if I'm tilted, would it be okay to review these games, or should I just actually step away from it?
Yeah, if you're tilted, you can definitely review the games, but just make sure still at the end of the review, you don't just queue up again. Try and get away from the computer, because the main thing, the human mind, we get ourselves in physical environments, and that affects like our mental environment. So when we lose 2 games and then we're reviewing a game tilted, we're kind of creating like a physical space where we have a bad experience with. And like, this is sounding like a lot of mumbo jumbo, sometimes it does, but if you can just get away and literally like see some sunlight or eat some food, like even have a coffee, like get some dopamine going, get something outside of your screens that's gonna motivate you, or just give you that little bit of pleasure, and then come back to the screen. Because the idea is to remove yourself completely from the tilting environment and then come back to it. So yeah, you can review those games, but just make sure you don't queue up straight away afterwards. Or if you do, you're going on your second account. If you're like really like, fuck that, I'm not going to get up. Ideally, try and get up every time and get away. But if you're too lazy or something, just go to your second account and kind of play until you're untilted. But again, the more games you play in a row, the less concentrated you're going to be, and the quality of game is just going to drop.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I'm sorry we went over the time.
That's fine. This was great. I really enjoyed it. And so then if you're ever looking for more regular solo queue coaching, I have plans. You can also, if you just want to book one-off game reviews, I actually have a Challenger 80 carry coach who I think you'd really go well with. You can book one-off sessions with him. You can book one-off sessions with me. Or if you want regular coaching where you want like, let's say 1 game review a month, plus statistic tracking and analysis, as well as like monthly focus areas. Like, okay, we're trying to get you from gold 4 to gold 3 at the moment. This is what you need to focus on based on your statistics, based on our game review, and based on your champion pool. We also have solutions like that.
Okay. And where would I go to find those or see those options?
Yeah.
Is that website as well?
So if you have time now, I can, I'll just give you all the pricings and for each thing, because they all start at certain prices. So for my Challenger 80 carry coach, a one-off session with him is just $30. And that's like generally a 60 to a 90-minute game review. Plus you get review notes. So like a little spreadsheet of what you need to do, what you need to focus on. And that's a one-off thing. So 60 to 90 minutes, you get the whole game review and recorded. Plus you get a little spreadsheet of what you need to focus on. Then we've got monthly coaching plans, and they start at $50. And what that is you have one game review every month. You get access to our, so you've already got access to our weekly boot camps because of your Untiltable membership, but you get access to one game review a month, one-on-one. You get access to the weekly boot camps. You also get a spreadsheet that follows you as you go. So each month we update it. It's also a bit more comprehensive than the one-off because we start to understand your playstyle a lot better. It also has stat tracking in it. And so that starts at 50. And then if you, let's say, wanted a game review every 2 weeks, you just add $30 per game review per month you want it to that price. And so they're really the starting prices, I would say. And they're probably the packages I would think you're most interested in.
Yeah, I really am. About the monthly one sounds really interesting, but I don't... Financially, I don't think I should do it this week. I should wait. I don't like spending a whole lot of money, and I spent a good amount of money this week, so I might do it next week.
No, for sure. And honestly, what I recommend is like go away. You've gotten so much knowledge in this call and a really cool strategy. Like go away, play, just see how you're feeling. And then once you feel like you're getting stuck, you're like, fuck, I need some game reviews here. Just come to me. I'm here. I'm ready. I'm ready whenever for you to start that plan. It's not going anywhere. Don't feel you have to rush into it. Make a choice today, even next week. Just do it when you actually feel like you need to start it. And that's when I would say you start.
All right, man. Definitely.
Awesome.
Definitely learned a lot.
That's
I
good.
really appreciate the help.
No, it's all good. Excellent. All right. Well, I'll wrap this up. I've also recorded the session, so I'll send you the recording. And yeah, what I'd ask from you, even if you're never interested in, getting any more paid coaching from us, please keep me updated on your journey because I really want to see if you can get from Gold 4 to Plat 4 and then where you can go from there.
Okay.
That's the main reason I do this. I don't do this for a living. I have an actual job. I do this mainly out of passion and just, for a bit of extra pocket money. But I would much rather see you go from Gold 4 to Plat 4 to Diamond 4 and not get any more coaching from me than never hear from you again. So stay in touch and keep me updated on your journey. And if you've ever got any issues, just come to me. I'm just a Discord DM away.
Also, another question.
Yes.
So do you do the same thing? Is it like for any role? Or
Yeah. So we do all roles. My challenger coach is an 80 carry specialist. That's why I brought him up. So he's a really good technical coach. I'm just more personable. So I usually do these kind of sessions, like the introductory sessions as well as that kind of stuff. But yeah, I've got a challenger coach and then he can coach all roles to a GM level. I usually coach roles up to like a D1 level. And then I use him for the more advanced players. But also some people are just like, I want a challenger coach. So I just send them his way. But also some people are like, oh, I prefer your attitude. So yeah, we do all roles, all ranks, basically.
All right, that's great because I know a guy who might be interested in this stuff too.
Awesome. And if you refer a friend to the monthly subscriptions of the $50, by the way, there's a free call for that as well. So if he's interested in learning more, but he's not sure about the price or whatever, he just wants to see what it is, there's a free call. I'll give you the link, but you'll also get $10 for the referral.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So you can choose to tell him that or not. That's up to you.
I mean, the website, that article I read was pretty cool. I mean,
yeah, I didn't even know they wrote that. I was
you really didn't?
No, I've now contacted the guy because I'm like, I want to thank him for writing it up, and then so it's obviously my website. Like this is my website, but the website you found was linking to this, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was super interesting. I mean, like some other guy, I don't think he's like connected to you guys at all, but like 6 months ago, like before, like during summer, he told me about like I posted something on, I can't remember, it was on Reddit or something on Discord, or I can't remember. He DM'd me and he's like, hey, I coach in collegiate level and I'm trying to start something up, and it sounds pretty similar to what you have going. And it's like, yeah, I'm trying to work less on like I mean, yeah, I want to coach as well, but I want to work on the mental aspect, which reminded me a lot of the Untiltable.
Yeah.
But yeah, he like talked to me about this stuff like for an hour, and I was super interested. And then the dude just ghosted me. Like he ghosted. I've never felt so lied to in my life. I like DM'd him, and he added me on this. I added him on Discord, and everything, and nothing. I didn't hear a thing from him. I was like,
good.
bro, what the hell, dude? I got so excited. and for nothing.
That's so funny. You'd be amazed at the amount of coaches that come to me and like, I want to start coaching, and they tell me their whole plan. I'm like, great, execute. And they just never do it. Like, some people just love to talk about the idea or the thing they're going to change. And they never do it. It's it's
Why
great.
did you hype me up like that? Like, I was kind of tilted and annoyed.
The full ghosting is hilarious as well. Just never replies again.
Yeah, it was such a long conversation too. It was not like a short ass conversation where he described what he could do and all that. It was a long, detailed conversation about how he's gonna help me and how he wants to do all these things and all that and blah blah blah, and ghosted me.
That's
not
too
even
fucking funny.
I don't. Yeah. So when I read about yours and like looked into it, it was really really interesting, and I don't know. The article was neat.
Yeah, sweet as. And then also, I mentioned the weekly boot camps we have. So you've got lifetime access to those with the Untiltable course.
That's great.
I don't know if the timings work for you, but you can see them in the Discord event section. We host them every week. You'll also get to meet our Challenger 80 carry coach. Like he coaches all roles, but he mains 80 carry. He runs them every week, so you get to see him as well, coach, see his play style, like see his coaching style, and see if you enjoy that as well for potential future coaching.
And when is that?
So if you go to Discord, it'll show a different time for you, but because it's Australian time, it shows me 5:30 a.m. But if you go to Discord and just go to the event section, you'll see the time, and then all you have to do is just jump into the bootcamp channel. You'll get pinged, jump in, click interested if you want to attend, and you'll then be pinged as it's starting.
Okay, I'll probably. Well, for my time, it's a little bit tricky. So if I did the
what
coaching,
time is it for you? What time is that?
It's 12:30 midday.
Oh, okay.
Like PM for me. But,
is that too early for you? You sleeping?
No. I just I try not to like I don't play League all the time. I try to go out there and have a life.
Touch grass.
Exactly. Yeah. So like I don't know if I want to be in my room at 12:30 p.m.
Fair. The cool thing is we also record them all. So if you're really? If you're out for the day but you you still want to watch the event, you just come back. It'll be in the past recordings. Yeah, we've got also a history of all our past ones. So if you want more League content, you can go there. But yeah, what was the other question? Where you had another question.
And if I did the 50-month thing and I got coached by him, would his time zones be different? Like you
get to choose the time. So he has a calendar. We just run that time because my server is across EU and NA, and that time is generally one of the best times for EU and NA audiences. So that's just why that event is at a bit of an awkward position for you. But when you get one-on-one coaching, you get our calendar and you get to book times. So his time zone is much more favorable for US than mine is.
Okay, yeah, because I can do it this late. I don't mind it. Just
it's not optimal. No, he does much better times. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. Definitely great to know. All right. I don't think I have any questions. I really appreciate it.
No, all good. So just quick recap. I'll send you the recording. Keep that champ pool tight. Do that homework, and I'll also send you the link if you want to send it to your friend for him to book a free consultation call for me to run through that. And if you guys want to book it together, and I use one of your accounts as an example, so I use one account just to run you through kind of what it would look like, you can both attend and you can both see if you like it. Up to you. But I'll send you that link anyway.
All right. Thank you very much.
Awesome. No worries, dude. Have a good night.
You too.
See ya.
Good night for you.
No, it's afternoon. It's 6 p.m. now. It's afternoon.
Okay.
It's good. You're close.
Have a good night then.
Awesome. See you, bro.